Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafty Landing. I'm Marie and I'm glad to be here with you today. We are on week 11 of the 100 Days of Junk Journaling Ideas hosted by Rach and Bella Crafts. Week 11 out of week 13. We are nearly at the end. We're on the home straight, guys. Hasn't it been fantastic? I'm sure you have picked up so many ideas, tips, inspiration from all the different collaborators. It truly has been fab. I know that I've been making notes on things that I've seen and I've been inspired by. So I have found it very fantastic. So week 11, vintage and ephemera themes. It must be Tuesday because there I am, Crafty Landing. Yesterday was Antonio Makes. Haven't watched him yet. Today is Sunday and I've just watched Pixie K Designs, Kate, who did a lovely ephemera pack, a sewing ephemera pack. It was really fab. If you are still struggling to find the collaborators, Rachel has them listed over on her website under collaborations and the different weeks, and then you just click on that person and it will take you to their YouTube channel. So if you're unsure, go and check those out. I will also link the website below here in the description box. If you are joining in and want to share anything that you may have made or created, please put hashtag 100 days JJI and then we will be able to find everything that has been made to do with the 100 days of junk journaling ideas under that hashtag there. So yeah, today I'm going to be using Rachel's third kit, the most recent kit now, the one that we are using, Journal de la Couturiere. I think that's how it's pronounced, Rachel said. And Couturiere is dressmaker in French. So it is a sewing themed journal. It is gorgeous. And it is the 3rd kit that Rachel has produced for this collaboration. All have a French theme, but all 3 kits have been different. So she has really come up with inspirational kits, and you get so much. You get the journal pages, you get the background pages, you get the fussy cuts, you get the ephemera, and don't forget the freebies. And the freebies that she offers every Saturday can be found on her website, I believe, but also definitely in her Ko-fi shop. So that's where you will find the freebies. And she brings out some freebies once a week. So that's fantastic. There, it's just, you can purchase the kits under a bundle, I think, or separately, it's up to you. So this is the one I am going to use today. And what I thought I would attempt to make with you today is something like this. It is a trifold. Oh, let me take those out. We won't be making those today unless we have time, but they are just some vintage themed tags that I've been playing with. So I had a little go with this. This is my prototype. A trifold means 3, so 1, 2 and 3, the back. This one has pockets because I just made it slightly smaller. Pockets here and a pocket at the back there. It's going to be slightly different than what I'm going to make with you today. But you can see here that I have covered using sewing pattern here. This tissue is sewing tissue from a sewing pattern, and I have sewn some patches of fabric here, and on the back I've just literally sewn around some patches of fabric. But we're going to do something slightly different today. So this was my prototype, but this is kind of what we're aiming for. Okay, so I'm going to put that one to one side. I'm going to put these to one side. And what we need to start with is an envelope. I've got a brown envelope. To give you an idea of size that I want to make, it is slightly bigger than an A4. So here in the UK, we have A4 sizing for paper. I know in the States you have US letter size. So if you're using US letter size, you need to have an envelope that's slightly bigger. So you can see that this is slightly bigger. I'm still going to be folding it up into 3 because what I want to do today is to create a trifold that's slightly bigger than the one I've shown you. I want mine to be traveller's notebook size, and this is a paper insert from a traveller's notebook, and I'm going to use this as my template. Now, if you don't know what a traveller's notebook is, it is a narrower notebook that was originally used to carry with you when you went on to holiday and things like that. Because it was slightly narrow and thinner, you could easily carry it around, and people still do. Standard traveller's notebook is about 4 1/4 wide, and I believe it's about 8 1/4 tall. Yeah, just short than 8 1/4. To me, that is an A4. There you are. So here in the UK, a standard traveller's notebook height is the height of our A4. Now, Trifold So 3, I want it to hold a traveller's notebook. So I know that it was 4 1/4 this way. So I'm going to be folding, let me move that out of the way. I'm going to be folding my envelope slightly bigger than my traveller's notebook. Okay, and I'll show you how we'll do that in a minute. So you need an envelope. What you need to do is to seal down the opening. So I've already done that. And then you need to trim down all the sides, because we want the front and the back of the envelope to come apart for now. So I've already done 3 sides, I believe. Yep, I've just got to now take a slither off down this 4th side here. So this is what I'm doing. I've got my steel ruler and a craft knife, and I just want to take a slither off each side. So I've done 3 sides already. This is my final side. A bit more pressure on my knife. There we go. Oh, that might have caught some of the glue because I sealed my opening shut with glue. So I'm just going to finish that bit off a minute by cutting the excess off. There we go. Want that bit off, and I want that bit off. Right. So now my envelope should come apart quite easily. Yep. I'm going to put the back to one side a minute because I don't want that one quite yet. But what I do want is what would have been the front. Now I'm going to put my fold lines in place before I cover it in my sewing pattern tissue. So I'm going to get my traveller's notebook again, and I know that it's about 4 1/4 we said, so I'm going to allow 4 1/2 before my first fold. So I'm just going to mark with my pencil. I've got my craft mat here to help me with some guidelines, roughly about there. Right, 4 1/2, and then I'm going to just make a little mark. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 1/2 is about there. So I'm just going to use my grid on my mat to help me, and I'm just going to put a fold there a moment. And now if I fold that one, so I want I'm going to be putting the tissue, the patterned tissue, over the shiny part of the envelope. That's the inside of the envelope. The slightly waxier, shinier part is the outside. So I'm just going to refold my part of the envelope there where I measured. Now I should be able to now use this one to be able to fold this bit there, and I'm going to want that to fold over the front like so. So my notebook is going to open, that's going to be like the flap to open it, and then this part is going to hold my notebook in there. And I'm going to be grabbing lots of different papers like tea stains, some lines, some bits of the kit, and I'm going to be sewing it into that fold there. So I have my folds, so it's going to go like that and like that, remember. So that is going to be my opening flap, my front flap. So I'm just going to put F for front and an O there for opening, so to remind me that I want it to go that way. Okay. To reinforce the folds, I want to put something down there like washi tape, fabric, masking tape, whatever you've got, just to help me keep the folds strong. Especially this one, because it's this one that I'm going to be sewing my notebook into. Okay, so I definitely want that one to be strong. And of course, the more that you use the, you know, open and close, the less, you know, the more, what am I trying to say? The more strength you want on it, don't you? Because it will become fragile over time. So I've got some masking tape here. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to glue masking tape down the folds. I might use a bit of collal for that because I do want it to stay there. So I'm just going to use my collal, and I'm just going to put a bead of collal down each side of my fold line, and I'll just run my finger down there. Okay, now if the glue comes through the masking tape or your washi tape or fabric, don't worry, because this is going to be the inside of our trifold, so it's not it doesn't matter if your glue shows through. The important part is that you strengthen the fold. So can you see my glue is already showing through? That doesn't matter because that's going to be on the inside. So again, another bead of collal all the way down there. Okay, and finger just to flatten the glue out a bit, and masking tape down my fold line like that. Okay, so that will help keep the folds nice and strong. Okay, right, I'll turn it over now and cut off the excess bit of the masking tape that we don't want. So we don't want that bit there, we don't want that bit there. Oops, sticking to my hand. So I hope you're all well and having a good season wherever you are. I was going to say spring then, because it is spring here over in the UK, but of course depending on where you live it may be a different season. We are having a very mild spring over here at the moment. It's gorgeous. I think the temperature is above average for this time of year, so we have been enjoying some really nice sunshine. So there we go, that's my masking tape in place, okay, over my folds. Now I've turned it over, and this is where the fun begins, because now we're going to be covering the whole of this envelope with some sewing pattern. Now I'm using a brown envelope, which is fine because I want it to be vintage, because it's a vintage themed week this week. If you've only got white envelopes, that's also fine. What you might want to do is if you have some stamps like that are sewing themed, maybe you've got some stitch stamps, maybe you've got a pair of scissors stamp, maybe you've got a sewing machine stamp, you could stamp over your white envelope, or even this brown envelope if you would like something to show underneath the sewing pattern. Even a bit of text, French text here and there, before you lay your sewing pattern on the top. That would be cool. I'm keeping it as a brown envelope because, as I just said, I want mine to have that vintage feel. So I'm just going to grab some of my sewing pattern here. And I want some, I'm going to do like a collage over the top of the envelope, but I'm going to be sort of scrunching and ruching it up in places. Okay, so I'm going to do that in sections, and also sections on my envelope, but also sections of different parts of the sewing pattern. So I'm just going to tear some bits off a minute of the sewing pattern. Okay, I'm going to get a bit more. I might have a different coloured, no, that's about the same colour. I have got a different shade, I think. Yeah, this is slightly darker. Let's have some of this. Who knew that sewing patterns comes in different shades? I didn't know that. Right, oh, and this one's actually even harder to tear. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's lovely then. Really got some torn sides on that one, which will help the vintage vibe come through. Let's try it here, and let's try it here. This one's got a bit of sellotape on. Doesn't matter, I'm going to keep it there, but of course I won't be able to tear over the sellotape, so I'll tear next to it. Right, there we go. Okay, so I've got some pieces here, and all I'm going to do is get a glue stick. Now I'm going to use a stick for this rather than wet glue, and I'm going to do it in sections like I said, so I can just about see my fold line still of where I'm going to be folding it to make my trifold. So it would be quite a good idea maybe to overlay some of the sewing patterns there and here to help again strengthen the fold lines. So I'm just going to start up this corner here, and I'm just going to get my glue stick and then work my way round. I am going to be sewing around the edges, so it doesn't matter too much about getting the glue all the way to the edge, but I do want quite a bit of glue up there because I want to be able to ruche it up and rough it up a bit. So I want to make sure that I have enough to grab the, oh, am I in frame? No, I'm not. Sorry, folks. There we go. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't want the ruches too big to stick up, but I do want them there. Lovely. And then I'm going to glue that bit down there. I'm going to put a bit of glue now over the top of this edge here because I want to be able to stick my next bit down. Let's have the bit with the sellotape. No, I won't. Let's choose a bigger bit that we had. So maybe this bit here. So again, I want to be able to ruche it. Okay, ruche it up and rough it up in places. Lovely. Look at that. Wonderful. Okay, we'll deal with these bits in a minute. Let's just get all the tissue stuck down. So now I know I can move some of this back, because it didn't have any glue on this bit because I'm doing it in sections. So I'm just going to put more glue down here. I'm using just ordinary Pritt stick. You use whatever glue you've got on hand that's your preferred stick glue. I know that there can be sometimes a bit of a glue debate about glues. I did try a Yoo-hoo, and Yoo-hoo is good, but what I didn't like was you have to screw on the cap. I kept forgetting to do that, so that kind of put me off using a Yoo-hoo glue because I just kept forgetting to put the glue back into the cap because it was screw on. Right, let's keep ruching it up. Right, a new bit, Marie. Let's get a new bit on. That's a bit too big. Let's do this bit here. Ruche it, girl. Ruche it. There we go. Let's just stick that bit down. That bit there. Now, if you're careful, you can put the glue stick directly onto the tissue. And here, like that. Just be careful. Oh, this bit needs some as well. Just get it on there. And yeah, press it down and then kind of leave it, because what will happen is any glue on your fingers will bring the tissue back up again. Right, we've still got some glue here to cover. So let's do this bit down here a minute. Let's get some with, that's got a lot of sellotape on. I'm trying to find a bit that hasn't got too much sellotape. Right, let's have this bit here. So let's ruche it. Oh, tore a bit there. Let's get that bit in there. And then a bit more here. Yep. Yep. Like that. So I'm trying not to be too perfect with this. I'm trying to be more Steph, you know, our lovely Steph from Hilltop View Journals. I'm trying to channel these days my inner Steph, and to go with the flow and not be too perfect or precious about these things. Just play and have fun. That's Steph's motto. Let's do another bit here. So we want that bit stuck down there, and I want to cover this bit, so I need a little bit more glue over here, gently on that bit that's there already, because I want to like that, and then push it up a bit there and there. Okay, I need to bring it down a bit here. There. So I need a bit more glue, very gently actually on the tissue, but you get the idea. Okay, so it really is just gluing down, okay, the tissue. Now I'm going to finish off camera and glue down any of these bits here, these flappy bits here, and I shall be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see I have stuck and trimmed down. This is actually one that I did last night because I wanted the glue to dry. This is the one I've just started with you now and finished off, but the glue is still wet. I really want it to dry. So this was one I did last night and it is now dry. Okay, so I have the back to it as well. It's still the same envelope that I used before. And there we are. Okay, and I still know which is my front opening. The only difference is, instead of masking tape last night, I got these bits of fabric out that I had, little strips of fabric left. But it still is going to be exactly the same. So it folds like that and like that. And I know that my traveller's notebook is going to fit in there just like that, and it's going to close like that. Okay, now the next bit. Right, well, what we want to do to make the fabric patches now, okay, and we want to get them in place of where we want them to be. So instead of real, like my own fabric, what I did was I watched Rachel's video on how to run fabric through the printer using freezer paper. I've never done that before, so I've had a go on a creamy linen. Now, the only thing that I can, oh, this one's better to show you. This is what happened on mine. This is the end that went through the printer first, and I think what's happened is somewhere it's got caught on the black ink, and as it's run through like that, the black ink has got caught on some of the fabric here, but it's okay. These are the backing papers from Rachel's kit. The same here as well. This one, look, you can see, but it's really got a vintage feel being printed out on cream linen. I love it. So rather than white, I've gone for cream to give it that more vintage feel, and I've done 8 of Rachel's backing papers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to a page, and I ran another one through. So I've got all these to play with, even though the black ink has kind of got caught on the ends of those ones. I've still got these to play with, and the same on this one as well. Okay, even though the black ink has got caught there, I've still got these bits here. Fab. Right, so what I'm thinking of doing, on my prototype, I put the pieces of fabric on top and then sewed around them with my machine. I'm going to attempt to do something different with this one. what I'm going to attempt to do is to make them look more patchy. I want the fabric to show underneath the cover, not on top. So what I want to do is I want to make holes in my cover here in random places and fold it sort of open or tear it open and then put the fabric behind so that it's like patches. So let's have a go at that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark with my pencil roughly where I would like a patch to be. And I'm thinking sort of maybe one here. So I'm just going to kind of mark, just draw a little square or something. You could draw around something, but to be honest, when we have worn out knees on our jeans or anything, they're not perfect, are they? That's why they're called patches. So I think I might have one there. Might even have it slightly bigger actually. Let's go over here. Kind of right, let's try that one. So what I'm going to do now is with my craft knife, I'm going to cut that out carefully. So I don't really want to use a ruler because I don't really want straight lines, but when I go over any bumps of tissue, I'm going to have to be extra careful. So I'm going to cut there. Then I want to cut kind of along. Yeah, see what I mean? It begins to drag the tissue, so I have to be really careful. And I'm putting my finger behind my knife, not in front of it, so that I can hold any tissue that the knife might be having to run over. And there. So it's coming, lovely. So now I'm just going to cut slightly up here. And then again along the top here. And hopefully, lovely, look at that. So we now have a sort of window. Now that's looking a bit too perfect for me at the moment, so I want to try and rough it up a bit. Now for that I could use my scissors, the edge of my scissors, which I am going to try and do just to give it a bit of roughness. I might even tear it on purpose. So I just want to scrape that a bit. I don't know if this is going to work. Maybe I should have torn the window. I think on the next one we do, I might tear it rather than use my craft knife. Let's see. Yes, let me see if I can. I'm just going to rip it in places. I'm going to rip that bit back there, and I'm going to rip that bit back there. Okay, and I might do another bit here. There and there. Yep, really just start to rough that up a bit, make it a bit looking rough and ready, so that then that begins to look like a patchy hole. Look at that. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is ink. I'm just going to see what that's looking like from the front. Lovely. Okay, I might want to tear it open a bit more here. Okay, I'm going to get some ink. I'm going to use walnut stain. And I'm going to ink carefully so I don't pull any of that tissue back. If some of it does come back, just get your glue. You might even want to use a bit of wet glue if there's little tiny bits that you need to just push back into place if that pattern tissue comes away. Am I in frame? Sorry folks, I keep doing that. Okay, ink it until you're happy, and then choose which part of the fabric panels you would like to put under your window. Let's audition. Oh, look how lovely that's going to be. There. And then we've got those ones. Then we've got that one. Oh, I love it. That is the one I'm going to have. So I'm going to have, let me just do that one. I think I'm going to have that one there. Fab. So I know that I want that one. So I'm going to kind of cut that bit of the fabric out. Cut or rip. I'm going to cut for the moment because... what have I got on my scissors? Sticky something. Because I'm just going to cut it big enough to go behind that window enough. So I'm hoping that that bit I've cut is big enough. Okay, so it's that way, isn't it? There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just to hold it in place, but I will be sewing. So I'm just going to sort of make sure it's bigger. You want it quite a bit bigger than the window, because to sew, you know, to sew it on there, you've got to make sure it's quite a bit bigger than the window. Don't make it too close to size, otherwise your sewing might not catch it. So I'm just going to use a bit of collal, and then I'll decide where I want to sew it. That is the idea. So I'm just going to put, oh, okay, I'll open. Let me just get the end off a bit. There we go. And I'm just going to, yep, put a tiny bit of collal around. Oh, it's coming out quite quickly. And I'm going to use my finger again just to spread it out. I don't want any bubbles. And then let me make sure I get this the right way. So I want my flower in the window just there. So has it picked it up? Yes, it has. I might need to move it just a little bit more. And when that collal is really dry, I'm not going to attempt to put my machine needle through that at the moment. I'm going to wait for it to be dry, and then I'll be able to sew all the way around this patch here. And that's what I'm going to aim to do. So I'm going to do another window with you a minute, and then I'll finish the rest off camera and come back and show you. So I've got a patch there. Let me just see. Oh, lovely, look at that. So I'm thinking I might have a patch this way this time. So this time I think I'm going to try and tear. So I'm just going to, with my craft knife, I'm just going to make an incision like that. Make sure my craft knife, yep, it's gone all the way through. And another incision this way. And I'm going to try and tear this time. Rather than use my craft knife to cut out the patch, I'm going to have a go at tearing, because I think it will be more effective. Okay, am I in frame here? Yep. So I'm just very carefully going around using that incision that I put in to help me put my hand in. Oh, and then come around here, and then come around here. Let's have a look. Oh yes, that's much better, isn't it? Much, much better. So I'm thinking now of taking my flower off this one and tearing that one as well. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to have a go at tearing this one as well. Okay, so I might have to make a smaller window for that flower now, but I'll choose a different one to go in here. Oh, lovely. I'm just going to, I think, tear down this bit as well. Oh yes, tearing gives it a much more realistic feel and appearance. Lovely. I'll only do 2 sides there, keep those ones there, but I do want to, yeah, give it a bit of ink still. Needs a bit more ink, I think. Okay, just a bit more ink, and on these 2 new tears up here. Oh, lush. This is going to look so nice. Right, so now I'm going to see if that's, I don't think that's big enough, but it will be big enough for this one, I think. Let's have a look. What about if I do it that way? That one might, yep, that one might catch. So I'm just going to again put a little bit of glue to hold it. Put one up there, so let's just put a little bit of glue to hold this one. So where's my collaw? It was coming out quite quickly. Let me get a bit of a cloth. Okay, let's just make sure that's got no residue, and just a little bit to hold it in place. Yep, you see it's coming out quite quickly. I think it's the heat, isn't it? And I'm going to take the frame to the fabric this time and pop that on there like that, turn it over, and now I know I definitely got room to sew. Is that part of it? Right, just turn it a little bit. There. So I know I've got room to sew around there. Oh, it's lush, isn't it? What have I got on my finger? And now we want something for up there. So this is the front. So I'm just going to see. Okay, that's not going to open at the minute because I don't want that to move. So I'm going to go for, we've got a bit of pink, haven't we? So what about this one here? Yes, I'm going to go for that one there. So I'm going to cut about 1/4 of that one off, right? So I'm going to go a bit bigger to make sure I've got enough. And over this side all the way, and then down. Okay, let's have a look, get these bits out of the way. And it's that way up. Yep, that way up. So I'm going to, again, I think I'm going to put glue around the back part here and take it to the fabric. So we want a little bit of glue, just to hold it in place. So I'm just going to, yep, lovely. Where's the opening this way? Where's the opening that side? Yep, I can move it over a little bit. Super. So I'm going to cut that bit away there, away from the fold. There. Right, so now we can see what it's actually going to be like looking from the front. How cool is that? And I'm going to stitch around the patches. Right, I'm going to do the whole of this now, and I'm going to sew around, and I'll be back to show you how it's looking. See you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back, and here are all my patches, all done and sewn. Let me just see if you can you see the sewing around them? There. I'm beginning to wish I'd chosen a darker thread, but hey ho, it is what it is. So messy back, but we're not worried about that because that will be covered. But here are the patches. So now the next thing, remember, it's going to be folded like that. So that is our front, and then it will come open and open like that. Now, so I need to think about the front, and I'm kind of debating whether to put some buttons on. So I have dug out a few vintage buttons here from my jar. So I have got some here. Now that one, I was thinking that it's got like a metal shank on it, and I was thinking that if I do a eyelet there and put my twine or ribbon through the shank on that one, because it's fabric covered button, I might be able to use that as my closure just there like that. I thought that might be quite nice, so I'm definitely going to keep that one and use it somewhere, I think. Now, I was toying with the idea of putting some buttons on the front here somewhere, but actually I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So I'm going to say no at the moment, but I'm going to keep them at hand in case I change my mind. And if I do, I can sew them through some fabric and then stick the fabric on here if I decide to do that. But the next thing we want to do is to make it sturdy by putting the back piece on now. So that is the back piece. So we want it to go on like that. I already have my folds in place, don't I? So what I think I'm going to do is glue that piece back on before I sew, and I'm going to avoid gluing all the way up to the edge. I'm going to avoid that because that's where I'm going to be sewing. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So to help it, I'm just going to have a feel about how sturdy. It's still not going to be very sturdy. So what I could do is put a piece of A4 paper or card in there to make it even more sturdy. I'm trying to think about how. I'm just having a think about whether I want to do that or not. No, I'm not. I'm just going to stick it down, stick with my original idea and stick it down. I'm going to put the glue on this side so that I avoid the windows, because if I put it on the patches, because if I put it on this side, I'm not going to know where the patches will be showing. So I'm just going to use my collal and just put some glue around, avoiding the edges if I can, because that's where the sewing machine will go. Maybe a bit up here, tinsy bit more here, tinsy bit more here. Right, let's see how we get on with that. Put my collal away a minute. Oh, come on. There we go. Now I've got to try and... Oh, I'm going to leave this here and put the other one on top rather than switch it the other way around. So let's do that. Try and match up the corners down the bottom here first. And then once I've done that, it should then, in theory... Let me turn it over. Right, so we've got some matching here to do. Like so. Press it down. I can trim off any edges that aren't matching up. Right. Okay, so that's the back of my envelope now. So it does mean now that I can take this back to my sewing machine and sew all the way round, and I can also sew this one here, because when it's closed my traveller's notebook is going to be this side, so that's going to be sewn in there, but this one, the front that's folded over, won't have anything sewn into it, so I could actually sew down the fold of that one. So all the way round and down this one here. I'm just going to mark so I know where I've got to sew down. Not this one, but this one. So that's what I'm going to do. Same colour thread as the patches, I think. And then I'm going to look at it and see if I want to put any more decoration on it, such as these, or any of these, things like that. So I'll be back in a minute once I have sewn all the way around. It's looking good, isn't it? See you in a bit. Right, so that's all sewn round, stuck on and sewn round. The only thing that's left for me to do is inking, especially around this side here. So I'll just quickly ink all the way around. I'm using the same as I did on the patches, which is walnut stain. So I'm just going to quickly ink all the way around. Again, you will be able to take more care and time over this. Excuse me, I'm conscious that we're on over half an hour already. Good job I stopped and started, isn't it? Otherwise we'd be here all afternoon. Just get that done there. I'm glad I didn't sandwich it with anything, because actually it's feeling sturdy enough. I don't need it to be as hard as a normal journal cover, just sturdy enough. And I've put fabric, haven't I, down the folds. Oh, folds, let's ink the folds. So yeah, that's remember to do that. The fabric is a really good idea, as is the washi tape or masking tape, something strong. I've seen people use, is it microfiber porous tape or something, medical tape. That will also help to keep things nice and stable along your folds and along your spines. Okay, have I done that side? Let me just get some ink here. Right, let's have a look. Okay, so when it's folded, it's going to be like that. Oops, that's going to be like that. I need to put an eyelet there, but I'm going to do that after I've decided what to do with the insides. And I have already off camera made some pockets to fit the inside of the file folder, of the trifold here. Okay, that's, so that again is a piece of A4, and I cut, because that was 4.5, 4.5, I cut those two to 4, and then I quickly just took off a slither off the end of that one, and it fitted in there nicely. And then I made some pockets using another piece of the kit from Rachel's. This one is one that I did on the fabric as well, which is here. So that one there. So this matches that one there. And all that's left for me to do then is to glue those in. But I also want to ink around the inside of the envelope, including the folds. So again, I'm just going to, actually I wonder if it will be quicker for me to use my mat. I don't normally do the blending this way, the inking this way when you blend it in. I normally just do the edges by going down, holding it. But let's see if I can get a bit of speed going by doing it this way. So down there, I'll turn it round. And of course you could even ink the sewing paper if you're careful on the front, if you wanted that slightly vintage grungier look. Right, so that's got that, and of course the folds again, so I'm just going to carefully fold it back on itself. Ooh, I don't know if I'll be able to do it this way. No, I'm just going to go down the middle with my ink. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want any of the circles on my blender to show through. Okay, let's just get some ink. Gently does it, Marie. Gently, gently, gently. Just get that going. A bit more down this one. Okay. I've already inked the pockets that I've made off camera to save time. So again, I want the smallest one to go there. So we've got a pocket there and a pocket there. And the middle one, which will be on the back, has got a nice pocket there. And the one that's on the front, as in the panel that opens up where my notebook is going to be sewn in down there, I have got a side pocket here, so a rather large one. Right, I'm going to glue these in place now. I've sewn around them, as you can see, off camera, inked them already. All that's left to do is to glue them down in place. Okay. I'm not going to be too precious about getting them all lined up. As long as they fit in the folded panel part, it will be fine. So get that going. I'll press back down that in a minute. Press that back down in a minute. Let's just get these ones glued in too. And about there. Okay, get my cloth. Any excess glue that's seeping out of the edges. Press down at the corners. It's really the corners you want down well, so that they don't catch on anything, because if they do, they might start to lift up. Okay, and finally this one on this panel. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video and feel inspired to have a go yourself at doing a trifold like this one. Lots of videos on how to do different trifolds. I just want this one for my traveller's notebook, so that it's actually going to be for a friend. I'm thinking of giving it to a friend. So I will let you know how she receives it, if she likes it or not. I'm going to put a little notebook in there for her. So that's the pockets, and I have actually off camera as well made some vintage themed tags, again using the sewing paper. These are the tags from Rachel's kit, and what I did was I tore some of the side part away and then put some brown paper underneath and then matched it up with her collage sheet. That one there. Oh, actually there, look, you can see. So I built up the torn bit using different parts of her kit, sewing pattern, and then this one is actually one of the tags that's in the kit. This one, similar way that I built up the tag, tore it, and then added some of her collage sheet in there. Pattern paper. This is actually some fabric, embroidered vintage fabric from a tablecloth or something. Actually, this one might be from a napkin. And this image, she was on a tag like this one, but I actually cut her out. So she's on there without being part of the tag. I cut them out. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to use these in other ways than what they were intended. You could keep it as a tag, or you could also cut the actual main image out, as I've done there. So I've made a couple of those tags and they should fit in my pocket there, and that one fit in there. I might put some ribbon on those, I'm not sure yet. Where's my traveller's notebook sheet? So I know that that is going to go on there. My little notebook, when I've made it, will be sewn into that fold there. So this part, so the pocket there, this part will go over like that. This part will go over like that, and all that's left for me to do today to show you is how to tie it. And I think I'm definitely going to use that ribbon, the button with some ribbon through an eyelet. So I'm going to go and find some ribbon or twine or something, and then I'll be back and show you what I've done. See you in a minute. Right, I'm back now, and I'm actually been thinking about the way I originally wanted the trifold to close. I'm actually going to change my mind. I really like this bit here. I expect you guys have been shouting at the screen, haven't you, telling me, no, use that one. What I'm going to do is my notebook will be sewn in like that. So this one, if I fold that in first, it's going to help keep the notebook closed inside there. And then that one can be my cover. I feel much better about using that part as my cover rather than that way round. I think that will help keep the notebook in, and then that one is much prettier for my cover. So I'm going to put an eyelet in there halfway down, and then I found some bit of old sheep that I originally dyed. I think the light pinky colour will go with that. Yep. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to find the halfway point, and it should be, if that's about 9, it should be about 4.5 then. 1, 2, 3, 4. So halfway point is about there, I think. Let me look, see if that's about right. Yep. Now the only thing I need to be careful of is when I put the eyelet through, what's it going through on this side? And luckily, because I've made a notch there, it's not going to interfere with the pocket. Fab. So I've got my crocodile already set to the right settings, I think. So I'm going to, let's move that out of the way. So I need to make my hole for the eyelet, and it's going to go about there. Let me just, I'm just going to do it there. There we go. Pop my eyelet in, and I've got the right settings on it already. That's the base, so that goes in there, and squeeze it together. Lovely. Put my crocodile away. Let's make sure that's nice and flush on the other side. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now my thinking is that with the little shank thing there, I'm hoping that that will fit through the eyelet. No, it won't. It needs a little bit of bending. Right, what I'm going to do first is put my tie through it, my tie closure through it. I might need my awl to help push it through. Okay, I'm just going to get this through. You might not be able to see what I'm doing. Just going to push, try and push that through there, through through the button hole. No, hang on. Okay, let's take that off there so it's nice and loose. Let's get this bit. Once it's through, you should be able to start pulling it. It should be okay, but it's getting it through. Got ya. Right, now let's think about this. If it's not going to go through, I could push. Yes, okay, so I'm going to push the tie through the eyelet like that. Okay, make sure I've got enough to tie the button on. Yep, right, okay. Now I could go through. You know, I'm just going to tie it. Let's just tie it. Tie it in a knot, I think, for a minute. I can fiddle about with this a different time, but if I tie it in a knot for a minute, and then that will close down, that will go over, and there is my button, and it will wrap around and around and around, and then I can tie it around the button like that. Yeah, I think that's going to be alright, so I'm going to cut it off about there, leave a little bit in case my notebook gets chunky. I'll put my end back on my awl before I poke myself. Oops. And there we have it. It is my vintage themed trifold with printing onto fabric and then using it to make a patchwork effect on my trifold. Thanks guys for sticking with me. I hope you have enjoyed that, and let me know if you have a go at making one yourself. I'd really love to see it. So yeah, thank you. See you soon. Bye.